Whomever can kill the Scorpion King can send his army back to the underworld, or use it to destroy mankind and rule the earth.
So that's why they dug up Imhotep, because he's the only guy tough enough to take out the Scorpion King.
That is their plan.
How pathetic, man. These classic cultists trying to resurrect the beast just to get their job done for them. Can't do anything themselves. Can't get that army. They got to bring him back just so that they could steal the army. There's no way they're controlling this guy. Not possible.
I mean, I blame the leadership, man, because like, wasn't it just last year that Imhotep failed?
I think 5 years ago or something.
I don't think he's the greatest plague bringer, you know?
Yeah. They botched the Hamdai.
They botched
the resurrection.
They bring him back, you know, and he's ready to botch it again because he's in love.
He's in love, you know?
Can you perform a Papa Hamdai if you're in love?
No, but you can write an emo song.
If you're sick in love.
Yeah, he's love sick.
He's love sick. Yeah.
I mean, clearly she didn't love him back the same way that he loved her and, you know, banished to the underworld. But he did return for a minute. He was back for a minute, just like we are. So
same old tricks with less plagues.
Yeah, I need more plagues.
Usually the sequels, bigger, better, badder plagues. He came with less plagues.
He came with less because he used all his plagues up. He's ready for love now. He's
practically plagueless. Drew.
It's like a dating show, you know. He's looking for love. The mummy returns and is looking for love.
Yeah.
Welcome back to episode 146. The Mummy returns. If you're new to our website, or if you're new to our show, visit our website, thelastrowpodcast.com. Follow us on X, on Facebook, on Instagram at The Last Row Pod. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Please leave us a 5-star review if you're enjoying the show. We've returned from a 2-week slumber, and we're back. And we've got some emo for us, some more Imhotep.
Yes, Imhotep. We resurrected on the 4th of July just for you jabronis. Yes, I use the word jabronis because we got The Rock in this movie.
Barely.
Is he good?
Poorly. No.
It's I guess it's undecided because he doesn't speak a word. Anyways,
I'm surprised he got another gig after this.
It's The Mummy Returns, May 4th, 2001. Right. I got to be honest with you, Drew. I don't like this movie.
I figured you didn't.
I don't like this movie at all, you guys.
Is this weird going into it that I had a feeling that you wouldn't? But you liked the first though, right?
I did, begrudgingly. Because ancient Egypt isn't my thing, man. It's just not my thing. And the first one was original enough, and the second one was just, we're going to bring back the same guy, and he stinks just like he stunk at the first one. There's so much potential in the first one. I like the
about
plagues.
Habib Marwan. Oh yeah,
yeah. I mean, we'll get into his, his toughness later, but I'm more intimidated by Habib Marwan than I am intimidated by Imhotep. The guy takes his shirt off is not very impressive to me.
He's got the Dobson override device in 24.
The Dobson override device is a lot more intimidating than this guy with his shirt off, pretending to be a tsunami wave.
Did you know that he shaved his body twice a day because he tried waxing and it was too painful? And, you know, he's a hairy guy. What are you going to do?
He's a hairy guy. I mean,
I'm committed to the role.
I mean, you and I know, as, fellow, fellow men from the homeland.
Yeah.
It's part of the charm. Anyways, this slogged along for 2 hours and 10 minutes. It's way too long.
It was too long. I definitely agree. It was too long. And honestly, just like Die Hard with a Vengeance was slightly too long. Like that second half when they wound up at the wherever the heck they were, the Oasis, I was like, okay, there's still like 45 minutes left.
Yeah, and we joke around that any movie over 2 hours is too long. That's not necessarily true. Like you can have a long 2+ hour movie, 2 hour, 30 minutes even, if you properly pace it. And I just feel this one, it's like, I was done at 140. When you feel mentally done at a certain point under 2 hours, then I'm just blaming the director. It's like, can we cut it down? Can we squeeze it? Can we edit it? The director needs to work with the editor. Let's cut this thing down to 140. Let's cut some scenes, buddy.
I will come back to my thoughts on this when we talk about this versus the first one. I did like this movie though. I will say that I did. It's up my alley. I like these kind of movies. I like the action adventure stuff.
Yeah.
I like this. I like National Treasure. Like I know it's ancient Egypt, but I was a fan. I did enjoy this.
And it's not a bad movie. I just didn't enjoy it.
It's okay.
Much.
I mean, it doesn't connect. It's okay. It happens.
Action adventure directed by Steven Sommers. We've talked about him before. He's done some stuff. Not very memorable. Mummy Returns, Van Helsing, Jungle Book, G.I. Joe, The Rise of the Cobra.
Which Jungle Book was it? The one for Disney?
The old school one, man. 1994.
That one. Okay, yeah.
Yep. Live action. Yep. Nobody cares about him. IMDb 6.4 out of 10. Sorry, Steven.
Hey, if you know, Arnold Vosloo did not do the third movie because Steven Sommers was not directing it. So Arnold Vosloo,
that's right.
He's got some respect for Steven Sommers.
Yep, that's right.
Be careful with that, buddy. 6.4. It's probably about right.
It's probably about right. Rotten Tomatoes 46%.
Too low.
It's probably what do you want? 51?
64.
64? No, we're not flipping numbers. No.
6.4.
No. 48% Metacritic.
Too low. 64.
That's fine. It's fine. Letterboxd 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd, 3.0 out of 5.
I gave it a 3, and I gave
It's a 3 movie. It's a 3 movie.
So you would give it a 3?
To me, I give it a 2.8.
All right,
if I was allowed to.
If you're allowed.
If I could move the average down, how could I? What a score would I have to give it to move it down to 2.8? Would I have to give it a 1? If I gave it a 1, would it drop it down to 2.9? Do I have that? Do I have that power right now? Does my vote count?
It was 2.98, but it rounds up to 3 because they don't give that.
But if I vote right this minute, if I give it a 1, do you think it would drop it down to 2.9?
It was what, 178,000 votes?
Out of 100.
No. You need to make a lot of accounts.
How many times would I have to vote to get this down to 2.9?
So I'm imagining Badway here being so passionately against this movie so that he goes and gets one of those, like, those overseas bot farms where they get like fake phones. You ever see those videos with people with like wall of cell phones? He's going to get like 100,000 Letterboxd accounts, and he's going to have somebody 1 star it so it goes back down. Review bomb. Mummy Returns.
That's what I'm about. That's what I do.
That's what he does.
The evil mummy Imhotep returns. Some people call him Imhotep. It's just false.
No, it's got to be Imhotep.
Yeah. Imhotep returns.
They should just respell it.
Yeah. Wreak havoc as he resumes his relentless search for power and immortality. I mean, he resumed it, but like not by choice. It's not like he willed his way back from the dead, right? People call upon him.
It's like if your power goes out while the lights are on, and the power, you forget to flip the switch back, and the power comes back, the light's still on. You're like, damn, I forgot to turn the light off. That's what he did.
Like to call his search for power relentless. It's like he's not clawing back.
No.
He died in the first one. He's dead until someone wakes his ass up again, right?
He was in that like frozen block of whatever the hell he was in, and they
relentless
woke him up.
Is not the word I'd use to describe him. Fortunate, lucky some bitch.
His fortunate search
to be have the pleasure of dying for a third time, right?
Yeah.
But anyways,
I don't know which was the worst death.
To make matters worse, another ancient evil has been unleashed, even more dangerous than Imhotep. Only the heroic Rick O'Connell and his intrepid I can't read, Drew. Egyptologist, is that even a real word?
That is.
Egyptologist, the tology of Egypt.
Yes.
The ology of Egypt. Yeah. His wife stands in the way of these twin terrors as they embark upon a desperate mission to save the world.
Are they though? Because the Scorpion King was not really a bad guy. He was just sort of the final boss for Imhotep to get the army. Like it wasn't.
I think you're projecting your feelings on that. I don't think that's proven just yet. Maybe in the next movie.
Okay, I never saw the next one, so
I didn't see it either. But
Scorpion King.
To me, I'm seeing the Scorpion King as he's evil.
So let me ask this:
we got to get to know him.
Yeah. So if they didn't, and maybe I should save it, but if they didn't do the spear his ass with the spear of Osiris or whatever the hell it was, he would have just overtaken the world. I mean, he looked like a crab. Did you ever watch?
Yeah.
Did you ever watch what's it called? Moana. You remember the crab? I forgot his name, but he looked like that.
Shiny.
That's what he looked like. Yeah, he looked like him. Yeah. That's what he looked like.
So would he go back to human form, or if say he wins, right?
I don't know.
Say Scorpion King wins, would he just be Crabman? Like is he capable of making I don't know, strategic war decisions as Crabman, or is he like a crazed crab person now?
He's like PS2 Crabman.
Or
That's
I
what
guess
he was.
I guess he's a scorpion. He's not a crab, but
Yeah,
clearly he's a scorpion.
He looked like a crab. He didn't look like a scorpion to me.
He's not the crab king. He's a scorpion king.
Yeah, he looked like the crab king though. He send him up to Maryland or something.
Yeah, I guess that's the problem of the animators, I suppose.
The Maryland crab king.
Yeah, right.
That's what he was.
Well, you wrote for me here an alternate synopsis. I guess I'll write it because it's on there because I am Ron Burgundy. The mummified body of Imhotep is shipped to a museum in London, where he once again wakes and begins his campaign of rage and terror.
Reason why I put that in was because I saw it somewhere else, and I like the idea of somebody just shipping his body to the Museum of London.
We'll ship his body.
Did they do it by design? Was it he just happened to be shipped? Like, was it the fake Michael Ironside guy that was the museum curator that shipped him? Like, was he ordered? Did they order him on Amazon?
If just last year, though, he almost cursed the entire world, right?
I think it was 5 years or something.
Or 5 years. He put a Hamdai on us all, right?
Yeah.
Why are we like preserving his body still? Is there a way we can have him not be around to be possibly resurrected again?
Thrown him into the middle of the sun or something. Like, I know
like,
it's
how do we do this?
But
it's can we like nuke him or something? Like, how do you properly dispose of mummified remains?
I guess you just bury them, but
bury just dirt. You think dirt's going to stop the guy from resurrecting?
Maybe you drive them out to the ocean and you dump them in the ocean, like at the
water.
Bottom. It's a big rock. You fall on
sea?
the bottom. I don't know.
Okay, all right. You put his ashes in an urn, then you tie some cinder blocks, and then there's no way he can rise up from.
Or the giant rock that he was. Like, you remember he was in that giant I don't know what the hell he was in. They could have just floated him out to the Marianas Trench and dropped his ass in.
I say we just put him into space, right?
But they didn't have a rocket ship at that time.
It was the 30s. Yeah, it was the 30s, I guess.
1933 or something. Yeah. But we'll come back to that. Only two taglines today. Number one, the most powerful force on Earth is about to be unleashed by the two people who should know better. No, that's not even accurate.
I don't even understand what that means.
Him. They didn't even do it. And then number two, adventure is reborn. So generic.
I hope someone got a nice raise for thinking of that one.
You know what? For a $98 million budget, you think we could get better taglines than that?
Yeah. Can we spend $5,000 to pay an intern to come up with better taglines? Can we do this?
$98 million this budget was, and I think probably $90 million was used on the CG for Dwayne Johnson, and it looked awful. Which I'm not even going to beat a dead horse on that one. It's just.
What could they have gotten out of like an extra $2 or $3 million to spend on the CG? Would it have made a difference?
No, but a lot of this movie was CG. Even the cities and stuff that they showed, like, it was blatantly CG.
And the movie did very well. I thought a lot of the movie looked very crappy, and I hate to shit on the movie.
I think the first one looked better personally.
Yeah,
I think it did.
A lot of the scenes looked obviously fake. Like, they were in the forests. The forests looked fake. The jungle looked fake. The deserts looked fake. It's like, I know it's fake, but can we do better?
No, they didn't. This is the problem when you rely heavily too much on CG versus using any type of practical effects. And, you look at the first one. It's been a while since I watched the first one. I think it was episode 81 that we did. So it's been probably a couple of years at this point. But I feel like they didn't have a good mix of those. And a lot of the stuff just looked odd to me, especially the cities and things. But hey, like, the audience didn't care. This thing was a certified hit. It was $435 million on return, which is worldwide. And I mean, it was a big deal. I did not see this in the theater. Did you? So you've never seen this before?
No.
I never did either. I thought I did, but I definitely didn't. So
the first time I saw the first Mummy was when we did the episode. So
I like the first one a lot. I think it definitely is a good movie. This one is fun, but I agree it's not as good.
Yeah, unless we make it a Mummy 3 episode, I'm probably never going to watch Mummy 3. So
can I ever convince you to watch that after this one? I don't know that it's got Jet Li. So
I'm pretty much I'm done with Scorpion King too. So
I will say this. I have zero desire to watch that movie. I don't think I'll ever watch it.
Yeah.
You can put that on the record right here. I will say that.
The Rock can go suck it.
Let's it's funny. If you go back 5 years in our catalog, like, I was the biggest Dwayne Johnson fanboy in movies, and now I'm kind of like, should he have got another acting gig after this one? I don't know so much. I like him.
When you oversaturate yourself, that's what happens. So,
yeah, I feel like he's becoming a walking advertisement, and it's like it's sort of turned me off towards him. But let's go a couple awards here. So there's a few. So the first one was Brendan Fraser was nominated for a Kids' Choice Award in 2002, Blimp Award, and he lost.
Yeah.
tell me whether you would have given it to any of these other guys over him, or over. Would you have given it to him over any of these other guys? So
Yeah.
the winner was Chris Tucker for Rush Hour 2, super hit, especially for kids. And then Jackie Chan was also nominated, which is kind of odd. You get both guys from the same movie, and then Eddie Murphy, Dr. Dolittle 2.
Yeah, right.
Could you argue Brendan Fraser deserved that?
All sequels, man. No, yeah, Chris Tucker is the winner. That's clear. In my eyes, Dr. Dolittle 2, that movie stinks. Mummy Returns, movie stinks. Jackie Chan. Yeah, give it to Tucker or Chan. Let him share it for all I care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And here's a couple. I'm not going to go through all these, but Teen Choice Awards. So this was another type of movie you would see on the Teen Choice Awards. Surprisingly absent from the MTV Movie Awards. I didn't see it on IMDb. Yeah. I would have expected this would have cleaned up at the MTV Movie Awards.
It's an MTV Awards type of movie. It is,
right?
For sure.
Maybe it was just not on there or something. I didn't see it. No. But I did see the Teen Choice Awards. So I'll go through a couple of these nominees, and then there's one category I want to call out. So 2001 nominee for Choice Drama Action Adventure, Brendan Fraser. 2001 nominee for Choice Actor, 2000 nominee Choice Fight Scene, Rachel Weisz and Patricia Velasquez, it was the Noxuna Moon fight with Nefiri, I believe. But the category that I want to call out, and this comes back to what we just talked about, the winner, so this was an award-winning Teen Choice Awards, film Choice Sleazebag, Dwayne Johnson.
Oh.
So he won, and he was up against Rufus Sewell, that's how you say it, A Knight's Tale, Anthony Hopkins for Hannibal. So you're telling me that Dwayne Johnson is more of a scumbag than Hannibal Lecter?
Worse than a cannibal. Okay.
Charlie's Angels, Sam Rockwell, Ian Glenn, Lara Croft Tomb Raider. I don't know if you remember him. It's
that guy was a scumbag. He was a scumbag.
Total scumbag. Victor Garber, Legally Blonde, Rick Yoon, The Fast and the Furious, David Boreanaz and Valentine, Keanu Reeves in The Watcher, and Candice Bergen in Miss Congeniality. I don't know, man. Anthony Hopkins, to me, I mean, you're a cannibal. How much more of a scumbag do you need?
It's a teen choice. It's their choice, Drew. You can't argue with their choice.
Did they even watch Hannibal?
Well, The Rock is a popular guy at the time. I mean, he still is, but I mean, he was coming up, of course. Even
Sleazebag.
He acted for, 3 minutes of the movie, and then he was just painted on at the end. Yeah.
But sleazebag, isn't that a negative thing?
It's a negative thing, and he was a villain, but I wouldn't call him a sleazebag. I don't know. I guess you call him evil because he's trying to take over the world.
I wouldn't even say he was evil. He was a beast that was like, he got turned into a beast.
He sold his soul.
We have to come back to him because I'm not so sure. I think he's misunderstood.
He probably is, but I still don't see how. Yeah, there's incomplete data for you to
in the new
that, I feel.
In the new Imhotep album, we're gonna need a song about how he's just misunderstood. He's not a villain, but he's misunderstood. We're gonna get that one in too in the album. So I don't know. I'm gonna
the sting of sorrow.
The sting of sorrow. There you go. Yeah. Sting of sorrows. Yeah. That's what it could be. There you go. It's that easy to write it. And I never posted the album from the last time. We will this time. Oh, yeah. We will. There's gonna be a wrinkle to it. You'll see. Technology's come very far since the last time we spoke. So instead of weaving some of this in, I just thought maybe we could make a new segment here. Sometimes it might make sense. Your favorite topic, Tales from IMDb.
Tales from IMDb, aka bullshit detector.
I need a sound drop for this because he's always calling me out on this. So let me say these. Now you tell me whether you believe this or not. Is this going off on your BS meter? The one that made me literally laugh out loud was, it said before playing a track of his Mummy score during a London concert in 2000, composer Jerry Goldsmith explained how much he hated the film and the production, calling it, quote, a piece of shit movie.
The tracks.
But unbeknownst to him, the director, Stephen Sommers, was in the audience that night.
Oh, man.
Therefore, Goldsmith wasn't called back for the sequel.
Yeah, man. Did it ever happen to you? Did you ever talk about someone you didn't know they were standing right there?
No.
Did it ever happen to you? I don't know.
Not that I know of. I mean, I don't think so. But
that's rough, man. But hey, I believe it.
Hey, you're at a concert. Like, somebody could be recording you. What did he expect?
The piece of shit movie. Like, it's easy to say because you just watched it. It stinks.
Well, he's talking about the first one. Do you think the first one stinks?
Oh, yeah. No, then maybe he's a film snob.
He might be. Well, why did he?
Jerry Goldsmith is a film connoisseur.
But if he's got something against it, then maybe he shouldn't have done the movie. So
a paycheck's a paycheck.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think it's funny that he quote called it a piece of shit movie while the guy was in the audience.
This isn't Disney, right? That's National Treasure.
No, I don't think so. No,
it's like he wants some of that MGM money or whatever the hell this is. Some of that Warner Brothers money or whatever the hell this is.
This one maybe is true, but it says the much criticized digital effects of the Scorpion King were rushed and only completed 8 days before the film's release.
That's bullshit to me. There's no way. I mean, it makes sense if you look at the product that's on the screen, right? That looks like a rush job, sure. But that seems a little far-fetched.
But I'm trying to think back to... I'm not saying they started it 8 days before release, but maybe they were working on it all the way to the last minute, and it's like...
okay.
They had to cut the film.
Because they couldn't figure out how to keep it from looking bad. And then they were like, I guess we got to hand it in.
It's like, imagine... But just, can you imagine the stress of that? Like, and I think about college, right? You got to do a paper late at night, and this is back when you had to, like, the professor tells you got to drop it off at my office. You got to physically put it in this box by this time.
6 p.m. Doesn't it feel good when it's like you have extra time? It's like 8 p.m. You could drop it off.
Oh, I waited anyway to the last minute. Like I always did. But imagine, like, they're dropping it off, but they also need to produce it and ship it to every theater in the country and the world. Like, imagine that. Like, imagine if you had to make copies of your paper and ship it to every single college campus. Like, that's what they were doing.
I will tell you this, though. Even if you wait till the last minute to do your project, whether it be high school or college or whatever, and even if you know it's not your best work and you're like, you could have done better and you know it isn't good, it's a C at best.
Yeah.
Doesn't it still feel good to hand it in?
You got it in. You're done.
You got it. They made it. They made it, right? They got it in.
They got it. We did it. We effing did it. They
might
did
be
it.
It might be D work, but we did it. We did it, boys.
We did.
There were high fives and beers drunk that night by the production team.
Oh, for sure.
For that crappy CG.
It looked bad. I mean, we'll come back to it, but it was bad. Yeah. Here's another one. So you mentioned Dwayne Johnson was in this movie for like all of 5 minutes. So Brendan Fraser tore a spinal disc, cracked a rib, and injured his knee during production. In the first one, he almost got hung. Remember that? Or hanged? Whatever the right word is. He was hanged. And then it says Dwayne Johnson suffered from food poisoning and sunstroke. He lost over 10 pounds and said it was, quote, the worst I've ever felt in my life. Like, compared to that, like, and Dwayne Johnson's a wrestler too. Like, he's had probably worse injuries than this, but it's like, I know food poisoning sucks. It's bad. Yeah. Like, it sucks. And sunstroke is not good.
I might have had sunstroke before. You were there.
Yeah, I was definitely there.
It's not fun at all. I don't care how tough you are. It'll get you.
But I just think it's funny, like Brendan Fraser, spinal disc, cracked rib, all these things. And he's like, oh, the food was bad.
Yeah, but like even though The Rock's scene was only 3 to 5 minutes long, he probably was outside for freaking 16 hours.
How long was he wandering in that desert?
Yeah, right.
So I'm not gonna, they took one take of that.
I'm not going to judge him. I'm not going to judge his toughness. He's The Rock.
No, he's The Rock. He's definitely tough. Yeah. It looks like they got one take of him wandering in the desert.
Imagine being hot and you got a shit because you have food poisoning because the craft services was not doing all that great, and then all of a sudden you're feeling sick from the sun and you got to poop, and then the director is telling you what to do, and he's never acted before. It's probably a miserable experience for him.
I'm sure it sucked, but he came back. Yeah. He came back for the sequel or whatever.
Because The Rock, he's determined. He's a workaholic.
I'm glad that he got roles after this, but it's an interesting one. And the last one here, I already mentioned the one about Arne Vosloo waxing or shaving multiple times a day. The kid who played the son of Rick and Evie, he was a huge fan of The Mummy. He saw it over 30 times. He passed on the opportunity to play in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone to participate in this movie, because this is one of his favorite films. He knew so much about the movie. He even served as a consultant of the first film. But
a consultant?
For the crew and the cast members. He knew every line of detail. Hold on.
Here, I got the IMDb up right here. What the hell's this bozo's name? Freddie Boath. Boath. Born in 91, so he was 9-10 years old.
All right, so as a 10-year-old kid, he was consulting on the film. He knew every line of detail of the movie. Anyone on the set needed to know something about the first movie, they asked him, and this was his first job. Shouldn't they ask Steven Summers? He made the movie.
Yeah, I'm calling all bullshit on that one too there. I mean, that sounds like a cute story. Oh, the kid knew all the movie lines.
You know what that is? That's a story that would have been told on the late night circuit when they're like doing the interviews for the movie.
To make the kid feel good.
Like David Letterman sitting there and be like, did you get in this movie?
when I was 9 years old, I mean, if they put me on the set of Ace Ventura 2, I could have told everyone what happened in Ace Ventura 1. I saw it 100 times. It's like, whatever.
Yeah. I don't mean to be a hater, but.
No, but I don't think it matters to his career if he had worked on Harry Potter or let the kid have, at least he had fun, because I don't think he would have. He wasn't very good, was he? He was fine.
He probably had more fun in this than he would have in Harry Potter.
But as far as like a career goes, if you look at his IMDb, acting wasn't really his thing, Drew. Not to bash 9-year-old, but
let's talk about this, because I think you have probably some pretty strong feelings on this. You've already alluded to it earlier. I think I know your answer, but how do you think this? Should I even bother asking? How does this rate to the first one?
It stinks.
Really?
No, the movie is. Well, I hesitate to even call it well made, because it looked so bad to me. As far as like the CG looked very dated, very awful. But maybe with 2001's eyes.
That's what I was going to say. What is it?
Maybe it's not so bad.
Like,
kind of like Spider-Man. Like how Spider-Man doesn't look good if you watch it today, the Tobey Maguire's first Spider-Man. But like you kind of let it go, because that was back in the day. That's what movies looked like. This version of CGI doesn't age properly.
Well,
right?
let me give you some other movies that were from 2001. So Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, some of the best CGI I've ever
never saw either of those movies.
Some of the best that's out there. You had Shrek, which was completely digital.
Animated movie, yeah.
Planet of the Apes. Did they use costumes in that? They did.
Was that Mark Wahlberg's Planet of the Apes?
2001, yeah. That was that one. Monsters Inc., another completely one. Fast and the Furious. I don't know how much CG they used in that. Black Hawk Down. That was pretty good. Yeah. I'm trying to find like Artificial Intelligence and Vanilla Sky. I never actually saw AI. I've never seen that. Yeah. Jeepers Creepers, most of that. And anyway, it goes on and on. 13 Ghosts, Jurassic Park 3. Like there's a bunch of stuff. Lara Croft Tomb Raider probably looked better than this, I think. And this had a huge budget. I
don't know. Like the movie just didn't resonate with me.
I think they tried to rely on it a lot too much.
Yeah. The settings completely took me out of it, because I thought every new place they were at, and I'm not the kind of movie snob that like turns his nose up at set design, this, that, the other thing, but I don't know, the CG was just not good, and it kind of took me out of the movie. And Brendan Fraser, I felt like he was kind of phoning it in a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit.
Oh, man.
I don't buy, and I said this. I think I said this in the first Mummy podcast, that I don't buy him as an action star.
I think
he's a good actor. I think he's a good dramatic and comedic actor, but I don't buy him as an action star. So I don't know. It seems kind of forced on me that he's this badass that could do no wrong, right? I don't know. And then you got the gigolo guy from Deuce Bigelow, which is completely ridiculous to me that he's in a serious role, because all I know him as is the gigolo from Deuce Bigelow.
But you didn't buy him in the first movie? I thought that's why I liked him. Yeah. I think he's great.
I don't know. Then you got Imhotep, who just, God, come on, could you put some muscle on? I don't want you to look like The Rock or anything.
Pretty jacked. I don't know.
He did not look jacked. Don't try it.
The
guy's shirt is off the entire movie, and let's be a little more impressive. Okay,
he had black cloaks on. I don't know. Did you like his costume where he had the mask and stuff?
I did like the cloak.
That we'll come back to that in the style on the villain scale redo. I
don't know. Like it just wasn't as fun as the first one. I don't know. Like, there was a lot of things going on. It's just, I don't know.
I'm say sorry. This.
Like I don't mean to shit on the movie. Like I don't know.
No,
like,
I hate
to do that.
I'll contrast, because I did enjoy this movie. I don't think it's as good as the first one, but I did enjoy it. But I think, to your point, what I think was different about it and where I think it didn't resonate was I think it had too much going on. Whereas the first one, the simplicity of the Hamdai plagues were great.
Yes.
And I thought it was awesome, because it's
something
like,
to follow.
What's the next plague?
Yes.
What's the next one that's coming? Yes. And this one had this whole concept of this scorpion bracelet where you have to go to 7 different places or whatever. But there wasn't really a reason for them to go to the different places very clearly. Like it was a journey, but couldn't they have just shortcutted to the end? And it didn't really make sense that they had to pick certain things up. Like they got clues, I guess, but couldn't the bracelet just tell them, hey, go here? I don't know.
I got to be honest. I was awake and alert, and I watched the entire thing through, never once fell asleep. I had no idea what the hell was going on with that bracelet, Drew. Like, what was that bracelet about? Like, I didn't get it. Like, I understood, like, the kid was, like, it was stuck on him, and I could, like, he was seeing visions, but I didn't understand the journey of where they went from A to B to C to D. Whatever, man.
I think the other thing was, like I said, the simplicity of the curses. This one, they tried to call back to, like, reincarnation and all kinds of like weird lineages with Rachel Weisz's character and stuff. It just was odd. It tried to do a lot, and I just need, like, I'd have been fine if they just brought back Imhotep. Like, they didn't need the Scorpion King in this, and they didn't need more. He could have just came back for more revenge. Like, I'd have been fine with that. And I think that him clashing and him trying to fight the Scorpion King, like, for the army, like, it was a cool idea, but couldn't he have just got the army? Like, I just felt like it was too much going on if there's any knock against it.
No, it was kind of nice though that he came back and was like, it was lovesick. I know we joked about it at the beginning, but like, it's kind of nice wrinkle that he actually has. Like, he's there for his love, right? But I don't know. Like, I just hate this movie, Drew. Sorry.
I feel bad that you were subjected to this one here.
I brought it up. I'm the one that picked it.
I liked it. I'm glad we watched it.
Yeah. But Happy 4th of July, everyone.
All right, wait. If you haven't turned this off yet, let's talk about Dwayne Johnson's first role. So I do think it's worth talking about because we've done this on like a previous on-demand episode or something where we talked about wrestling crossovers and stuff like that. But, you know, you think about like Roddy Piper and They Live. I mean, there's a bunch of other actors and things. Hulk Hogan was obviously in a bunch of stuff back in the 80s, maybe even the early 90s. This is like, I don't want to say it's the next one because there was, again, other people that did it. But obviously, Dwayne Johnson was one of the most popular wrestlers at the time. He was on top of the world, and he started in this movie. And I mean no disrespect to him when I say this, but
zero disrespect.
He was not very good in this, was he? Like, and he was in it for about 5 minutes.
I think that's unfair because he didn't do anything. He didn't like the way he emoted. Is that what it was?
No, I felt like he looked like he didn't know what he was doing, and like he ate a fake CGI scorpion. That was kind of weird. Him wandering the desert looked really odd. Like he looked like he was on a green screen. And I mean, in fairness to him, he was. Yeah. So unless he got sunstroke on a green screen.
I don't blame him for looking bad at this movie. But I don't know. What's the best rock movie? Or what's your favorite? I'm sure we asked this before, but maybe
Fast Five,
I was gonna we're on the same page. I was gonna say the same thing. Fast Five, baby.
What's the other one? Is it Faster? What's the one?
Where he's out for revenge.
Yeah. What is that one?
It's faster.
I like that one too.
Friggin' Walking Tall, where he fights against that guy as the villain. Like we don't know his name, but he's got the piercing blue eyes and the white hair.
That guy.
Yep. He fights that guy. Yep, that was a great one.
I think he's good in that. I don't know. I think my favorite might be. It's Fast Five. It's not really his movie, but it's his movie.
No, he stole the movie. That's why Vin Diesel put a Hyundai on him.
Yeah. Diesel put a Hyundai. He did put a Hyundai on him, didn't he? No, I would actually, let me change my answer. Pain and Gain. I think he's great in that.
All right. Yep. That's just a good movie.
I think he's great. Movie. And you can dump on Michael Bay all you want, but that's a great movie. And
he played a character and it was well acted. It was a well acted character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the other one? Snitch. Remember that one? That's another one where it's like he's out for revenge too.
Yep.
Like I think those are roles that I liked him in. I know they were a little bit wooden, but when he became where everything was like Jumanji and Rampage and Skyscraper, those became a little bit more like generic in nature. Whereas I liked some of these other where I felt like he got to act more.
Yeah. And maybe he's better off being an ensemble, right?
Yeah.
And not being a lead. Back when he was doing like the beginning of his career with Walking Tall and with the one with Stifler, what the hell, Rundown. Like those are like low budget action movies. Those are fine. Those are like introductory movies, right? That's like Head On for Vinny Chase, right?
Yeah.
Like that's fine, right? But when he gets into the big budget blockbusters and he's the leading man, it's like he gets kind of sick of them. Maybe he's better off. Less is more. Maybe less is more.
I think you're right. And like, what was the other one that he was in? Not Get Smart.
He was in G.I. Joe.
What the heck was
the G.I. Joe that this guy directed?
He did. Steven Sommers.
Yeah.
Doom.
Doom
I was thinking of. But he wasn't the main guy in that another ensemble cast, which I could see what you're saying.
But like when he's like the main guy, like, I'm San Andreas, I'm the pilot, and I'm gonna save my family, or if I'm just out for revenge and this and that. If he's playing The Rock, it can get kind of boring, right? Well, it's better when he's an actual character.
So let me ask you a controversial question. At the peak of his fame, who did you enjoy more, Arnold Schwarzenegger or Dwayne Johnson? Because people like to do that comparison a lot. And do you think that there's similarities?
There's a little bit of a similarity there, but Schwarzenegger is definitely better. But I think Schwarzenegger had the pleasure of working with, I don't know, back when the action movie genre had more prestige and more high profile directors were doing them, right? Like he did 2 James Cameron movies, or 3 really.
Do you think this is unfair to say? And maybe this is a controversial question here, but if I told you that like Schwarzenegger seems more genuine than The Rock, would you think that's a fair statement?
I think so. Yeah, I feel like The Rock's always trying. Like you said it before, The Rock's looks like he's always trying to sell you something, or yeah,
like it's a walking advertisement, and maybe that's social media.
It's a walking advertisement, right? But he seems like a genuinely nice guy.
Yeah, I don't think he's a bad guy.
I'm not knocking him or anything, but
no, he's got a carefully crafted persona, and I think Arnold does too. But it's a little bit different. Like I don't know. I'm not trying to be unfair to the guy, but it just seems a bit more commercialized, whereas Arnold seemed a little bit more down to earth. And maybe that's Arnold by design too. I don't know. Maybe that was his character that he crafted for people, but he seemed a bit more relatable. And obviously this was the first of many roles that came. And I've never seen the Scorpion King, and I just said it earlier. I don't think I want to. I mean, he was fine. I don't mean to dump on him. And like, this is me. Like I said, I used to be a fanboy, and I guess it just he was in so many things. There was like oversaturation to it.
You know what he was really good in was the show Ballers.
I never watched that. I watched a couple episodes and I liked it. He was good in it.
Where he got into like sports agency or whatever. I forget what his exact role was, but like he was something like that, something like an agent. And he was really good in that because he played like a cocky former athlete. It was kind of like The Rock, but it was not really The Rock, you know?
Yeah.
That was a good role for him.
What about the character of the Scorpion King? So we'll come back to him when we maybe talk about some of the villains of the things, but do you think that he was truly a villain, or was he more of like a tragic figure based on what you got from this movie?
I mean, he looked like a villain to me, but you know, anytime like you knowingly sell your soul to, you know,
take an army?
To make an army, I feel like, you know, bad things are probably going to happen, right?
Yeah. I never saw, like I said, we never saw Scorpion King, and I think they explained it a little bit more, but what they told us was that he was trying to basically take over this town or whatever, and he needed the army to do it. Yeah. So he made a deal with Anubis.
I honestly question his decision-making skills because he fought the battle against whoever he was fighting. I wasn't sure who he was fighting. And he lost the battle. Some of his dudes were still alive, and they just were like banished to the desert to walk it off and die. Right?
They all died except for him, basically.
Why wouldn't you just continue fighting until everyone's dead? Wouldn't you rather die by the sword than by dehydration and exhaustion?
Yeah, I mean,
and heat stroke
and food poisoning, like whatever else happened. I think I would.
Why would you turn tail and die like a coward, rotting in the sun for the vultures to get? Why wouldn't you just turn around and keep fighting? What if you accidentally won? You know?
Yeah, maybe he had the chance that he thought that he was the chance of living and wandering the desert. But look, man, you wander a desert, you're not going anywhere.
There's no end in sight.
I was just watching Vacation, the original Vacation movie, and Chevy Chase is like wandering in the desert. It's like, dude, I'll go get some gas. Like you're not gonna find anything. Like you're dead.
The desert is forever.
And he was dead. So I don't know. We could talk about the Scorpion King all we want, but let's talk about Rick and Evie here. So they're back from this movie, from the original movie. They're married now, and they're madly in love.
They're surely. We know they're married, and we know they're in love. Drew.
Yeah, Evie is certainly less of a klutz, but her brother's still a doofus. But they introduced a kid, like you heard about the kid earlier. Do you think that was a good addition or a bad addition, or you didn't really care?
I got to be honest. Like at the beginning of the movie, when they first introduced the kid, like I wasn't sure if he was their kid because they cared so little about him.
Yeah, they did.
His well-being, right?
You're right.
Like, I hate to bust out the bad father barometer, but like, bad mother too, right? They seem to be so wrapped up in themselves that like it was hard to tell that they were actually parents of this kid.
Yeah, they definitely were a little bit too hot and heavy with each other. But hey, man, I'll tell you what, Rachel Weisz, I fell in love in this movie. It's just, I don't know. I fell in love in this movie.
You know what? If the last wife ever gave you a hall pass, you go after 2001 Rachel Weisz.
I need a time machine first, right?
Now we know.
Yeah. Are they good parents on the record?
No, they're not. Terrible parents.
What's your evidence for?
Just irresponsible. Bringing the kid on a ex what do you call it? Exhumation or a
Tomb
tomb raid?
raiding?
Like, what is it? They were tomb raiding.
They were trying to
booby
find
trap central.
I think she was trying to find the bracelet of whatever the hell it's called.
They're looking for
bracelet.
the chest with the bracelet, and there's booby traps everywhere. The kid, like, I'm surprised they didn't make him wait in the car. Like, why don't you just get a babysitter? And,
Even when they tried to tell him to wait, though, he didn't wait. Like he didn't listen.
I'm all for being adventurous with your kid. Hey, let's go hiking. Let's go rock climbing or something crazy. Like, that's fine.
But you're not free climbing.
Let's not teach our kids to be, wusses. I'm fine with that, but I don't know, man. This is one of the worst things. Like, you could take your son or daughter to work day. Like, this is one of the worst examples. I don't know. There might not be any much worse. Like, what's
skydiving? Maybe
skydiving.
But that's
prison guard.
Safer.
Prison guard.
Prison guard would be pretty bad.
Oil rig worker. Diamond mining or mine shaft.
Coal mining.
Coal mining.
Yeah, coal mining.
That's up there with tomb raiding of things you should not bring your daughter or son to work.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Like, I don't know. I think tomb raiding was certainly irresponsible. There's booby traps galore. There's literal Hamdai curses on things.
Yep.
He could get possessed. He could have a scorpion bracelet slapped to his wrist and forced to get to a pyramid. Otherwise, he's going to die.
That kid's lucky Mr. Echo didn't chop his arm off immediately.
Yeah, Mr. Echo.
Why did they just chop his arm off?
I think they said they couldn't because Imhotep said they needed him because the thing was tied to him.
Imhotep said. The guy was just dead. How does he know?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to listen to him.
You're going to listen to him?
I have to ask you.
Failed Humdyer?
I have to ask you because you brought this up, but before we talk more about the kid in a second, but you talk about tomb raiding. Like, I don't know. I mean, there's probably ethics groups that talk about this a lot, but like, think about what they're doing. They're digging up your grave and they're taking your body and put it on display for people to see.
Yeah. It doesn't matter that they're like ancient or it was like I don't know, important historical burial or it's not even a burial. It's not the opposite of a burial, actually. Mummifying or whatever. It's still grave robbing.
Yeah, I mean, like,
right. No matter how much time has passed, it's still grave robbing. That was going to be
my question. Like, is there a time of like, oh, hey, you can't dig up somebody from 1960, but
like, what's the equivalent of like King Tut? Like, are people gonna like? Do we yearn to dig up George Washington? Right? We don't.
Not even civilized.
Close. Not even close. Yeah.
Right, but like, hey, let's see if he actually had wooden teeth or not.
Yeah,
right. Like, why would they do that? Like, just.
or would it have to be like not a grave type thing, but like you could put in a mausoleum, which I think is a very creepy thing. I don't know why it's more creepy to me than burial
because it's above ground, like it's a building.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So it's like, is raiding a mausoleum better or worse or the same as digging up a grave 6 feet deep?
You just got a crowbar.
Because the digging act is like more morbid to me somehow.
Because you better because at least like if you okay, here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
When you dig up a grave, and you're not that I've done this before, but
no, yeah, well I've done it. Go ahead, go on. I'll tell you.
Dig up a grave.
Yeah. Yep.
The literal shoveling of the dirt is like, shit, am I sure I really want to do this?
Yeah, there's time to think about it. You're not going to get to the 6 feet quickly.
When you crack open a mausoleum,
you just need a key or a crowbar, right?
It's an impulse decision.
Yeah.
Like, these guys are out there. Yeah. Like, I mean, just think about it. Because the pyramids kind of is a mausoleum. They're not in the ground. They're in like these sarcophaguses or sarcophagi, whatever the hell they're called. It's just weird. And like, is like you said with George Washington, is there an appropriate amount of time or is there never an appropriate amount of time? Like, is it okay if you're saying, oh, we're going to learn? I think it's worse to like display the body for people. Like I'm not against learning. It's just a weird thing, isn't it? But
it's a weird thing because I guess the people that dig up these mummy tombs, I guess there's like treasures or whatever.
Yeah.
So if there's a legend of George Washington buried under, gold, there's gold bricks up his ass or whatever, I guess someone would have tried to dig his grave up by now, right? They would have tried. It's like there's got to be treasure involved.
I don't know. It's just weirard in general.
Yeah. Or if like the legend of DB, what is it?
DB Woodside?
DB Woodside? No, that's
an actor.
That's the president's brother in 24. DB Cooper. Damn it, you got the fire Wayne.
The legend of
Wayne,
DB Woodside.
Freaking Wayne Palmer.
Can you tell that it's very late on a work night that we are recording this because we care about you people, everybody that's listening.
They're like, oh, DB Cooper's grave. You find the grave, you dig him up, you get all the gold or whatever. It's like, yeah, you're gonna dig up a guy that says that if there's worth in it for you, but it's still a morbid act.
Yeah, it's a weird one, man. I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm against the rating of the tombs.
Yeah,
learning of the tombs. I get it.
Maybe it's a little better if it's been centuries. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
has it been centuries or has it been hundreds or has it been thousands?
It's thousands of years.
Is it thousands, not hundreds?
Yeah. Well, because you think about it, how long ago this was. I think what was this, like 4000 BC or something? I don't know what the year this was when they showed it. Yeah. But either way, it's it's not like you're digging a house and you accidentally stumbled across like an ancient Native American burial ground. Like, oops, it's a calculated dead guy dig. Get the crowbar out and let's pry and see what's in here. And like you said, see if some gold bars are up their ass. But I agree with you. The only thing I'll say about the kid is, before we move on from this topic and go back to the Imhotep, you said that you didn't think he was that good of an actor. I'll tell you what.
He's fine. I thought he was okay.
He was good when he saw all that shit smeared all over the wall in the toilet bathroom of that train.
Yeah.
I read that was Stephen Sommers' hands. That he did the handprints. Like, man, somebody really struggled in there. Let me tell you. That's it's just. Did you notice it was just a hole that went into the tracks because they're just crapping all over the wilderness. So anyway, it's just like, imagine the train just dumping crap everywhere.
I mean, who's like, really? It's like you shouldn't be walking on the train tracks anyway, so you might as well shit on them.
It's by definition.
If you shit on the tracks, maybe it'll deter people from walking on the tracks.
Yeah.
Saving lives. You're saving lives.
Yeah, I know. I know we're going long, guys. I'm sorry, everybody, but there's a lot of things to be talked about. Well, let's talk about resurrecting Imhotep. We talked about the plan already, and we don't have to spend a ton of time on this, but the motivation was this cult who wanted to resurrect him with the Book of the Dead, and they wanted to use the power to defeat the Scorpion King so that they could get the command of the army. And the leader of that thing was this guy Baltus, who was essentially the museum curator, and he had a bunch of other people. Do you think that they were trying to trick Imhotep and use him, or were they actually trying to serve him and they were like the cult of Imhotep? Or do you think there was like a longer term play here where they thought they could use him?
Yeah, I think they thought they could resurrect this guy. He could do some dirty work, and then they could ultimately control him. Because why not? I feel like if you're a slick city, museum person from the 1930s, you could easily fool a guy that's a couple thousand years old, right? Because that guy's kind of naive, right? Because he's thinking about olden times, back in the old days. He doesn't know about modern technology.
He's got that
3000
BC brain.
Right, exactly. I feel like you could easily pull wool over the guy's head there, right?
You show him an illusion or a mirage, but
yeah.
I mean, he was a high priest, so maybe he had some tricks up his own sleeve. But
yeah, I mean, he's a sorcerer himself, so he's ready to believe whatever you show him. But I mean, if you show him this device, called a handgun that can end someone's life with a push of a button, he's going to be impressed by that, right?
Well, it could be worse because he already came back before, so they know he already knows about handguns now. Because he even saw he saw Rick. He's like, you again, and you again. Like, he knew, so he had a memory. So it's he had memory.
I feel like they had a plan to like get the army, and then find a way to trick him into becoming the rulers themselves.
The other question I have is, could they call back anybody from history who died? If they had this Book of the Dead, is it any dead soul, or is it only people that were mummified?
I feel like it has to be either mummifications or someone of maybe the Arabic descent, maybe. I don't know.
They had to have the bloodline?
Yeah, you gotta have the bloodline. I feel like you have to have the bloodline for where the book was written, right? Like the mother was resurrected, or not the mother. She's not a mother. She's more of a wife than a mother and a Tomb Raider than a mother, right? Rachel Weisz. I don't even know her character's name.
Evie. Evelyn.
Evie. That's right. So Evie, which by the way, I mean, I was about to give the movie props for killing a main character, like in a sequel, to make
knew
it
that wasn't
mean
gonna stick.
something. To make it mean something, right? Kill the mother in front of her child's eyes. That's a hell of a thing.
Yeah.
And then she just comes back, and then the kid was like, first of all, the kid didn't mourn his mother's death. Like, he instantly brainstormed a way to get her back, which I don't know. This kid. Of all the unrealistic things in this movie, we're talking about mummies, we're talking about scorpion kings, we're talking about armies of the dead, all this unbelievable crap. Most unbelievable thing to me is the kid actually functioning after watching his mother die in front of his eyes.
Do you think that if they knew she wasn't coming back for the third movie, which she didn't, they'd have kept that and she'd have died?
I
They
would hope
recasted
so.
her.
Yeah, I mean, they probably wish they did. They probably wish
I
they
don't know.
did.
She was
after
integral to the end, though, because she needed to basically show
Well, I
Imhotep
know.
what real love was. so
I
he
know,
could
but
write
if
a
we're
song
talking about
it.
shocks in the movie, like let's take some
I agree.
chances here, right?
No,
let's
I
take
agree.
some chances.
It is. It's a tough one.
In order for us to continue to believe in the stakes of a movie, I feel like every once in a while a movie's got to come along and start killing some main characters.
You're right,
Right?
and they got to do it, and it could have been, but I feel like it's more of a family movie than they want to admit.
Here's a
So-
perfect example. The show Stranger Things, right? It's been going on forever. It's been going on forever, whatever. There's so much danger in Stranger Things. Those kids have been in so much peril. All of them. The teenagers, the younger kids, the young adults, freaking the mother, freaking Hopper. None of them have died yet. And we're on the last season coming up.
So you want a bloodbath?
2024. I don't want a bloodbath. Just give me one body.
Just one.
Put one kid in the ground from that show
Just one.
to make me believe that the bad guys are actually a threat. Because right now, those kids are invincible.
I agree
Right?
with you. You need to ratchet up the danger. There needs to be a death.
You could be nervous watching the show if the show in the past proves to you that they are willing to kill a main character.
Well, what's her name? The girl in season 1 died. What's her
She
name?
didn't matter. Was her name Deb? I don't know her name.
Yeah, something like that. Whatever.
Yeah.
But you're right. She wasn't enough of a main character to
No.
matter.
I'm talking about one of the main kids, right?
I think that's fair. That's fair.
Give me Steve. Take Steve
Yeah.
out. We all love Steve.
Yeah.
You know?
What about the idea of being resurrected after being gone? Like, I don't know, this idea of the mummy coming back as if he's going to enjoy the world. Like, I mean, maybe you'd rather be dead than come from 4000 BC where Egypt is this beautiful paradise.
Yeah.
And you come back to like a desert wasteland in 1930. It's like a foreign land.
Is it worth it to rule the world that you
I
now
don't think
hate?
so. I don't think so. Just leave me dead. I mean, but he was in a cursed afterlife, so maybe it is worth it for him.
I don't know. I feel like he probably would have been in for a world of disappointment if everything had gone according to plan, and then like once he becomes leader, it's like now what?
Yeah. I mean, he got to see a Noxuna moon, I guess. And
although I suppose he could take on some slaves and have them rebuild, cool pyramids, and he could have people rebuild the city to his liking, right?
So that's
and maybe
true.
live in that bubble of like, this is my world again. Yes,
that's
this is
true.
great.
Maybe he could live in that and take it over. I guess you're right. We don't need to spend time on it, but I just thought the whole like there's a resurrection plot and like this whole reincarnation thing between a Noxuna moon and Rachel Weisz's character. I just thought it was kind of weird that like the Noxuna moon character was making out with a necrotic corpse. Like, is that all that happened there?
Sexy stuff, man.
Is that all that happened?
Give us that R rating.
Yeah, I mean, it just seemed a little weird.
Was he naked? As he while being a mummy?
He seemed like it. I'll tell you
did
that.
he have some mummy clothes on? I couldn't
You think
tell.
he wears underwear under that thing? I don't think so. He doesn't have like boxer briefs under those.
I don't think
robes.
they didn't have underwear back then.
No,
did
they just had like cloaks and loincloths and stuff.
Yeah, man.
They're not gonna wear
and even
that.
like some
Too
of
hot for
those
that.
the guys, they wore skirts too, but
it was too hot for
if
that.
you leave those things dangling, he's seeing them.
Let it breathe.
By the way, to get off that topic real quick, I'm just super impressed by the way you keep pronouncing this girl's name.
Anoxana moon.
Anoxana moon. Like, how are you not stumbling over that every five times you say it?
Moon.
Anoxana moon.
And the most emo moment of the whole movie, Anoxana moon. And he just falls to his death.
As she runs away from him.
Man, talk about Imhotep. That's when he became Imhotep.
That's when he wrote all those songs.
That was the origin of Imhotep, the band. So I will never get old to me. Before we talk about the ending, there's a lot of action in this movie. And I just have a random question for you, but I don't know if you thought about this when you were watching it, but there's car chases in movies and there's a lot of like action and whatnot. So something that really stood out to me was how fast and how dangerous was a car chase in 1933? Like,
I don't know
how
if they-
fast did that car go?
I don't know if they showed the speedometer, but do you think it goes 50?
I doubt it.
Top
I mean,
speed? Does it use normal gasoline that we know of today?
let me look this up. How
in the
fast?
30s? Do you think there was a gas? Like, how big was the gas tank? Like, could you get 50 miles
So,
in a 1930s car without having to fill up?
all right. So apparently in California in 1933, maximum speed was 45. So maybe it could. Maybe it could have gone there. I don't know the exact car that he had. It seemed like a hot rod for 1933. So
Yeah.
maybe there was a car that could do it. Looked like cars went up to 60 or 70, but I was just imagining like cars driving like 25 miles an hour.
But that's still not a
mummies
top
racing.
speed. That's a speed you go on the highway that
Yeah.
you wouldn't even get pulled over for, 60, 70.
True.
Right?
But at that
You're talking
time,
about,
I guess.
you're talking about a high speed chase, right?
It's just weird thinking about these mummies like running
Yeah.
faster than the car goes. Like, I
Like-
don't know why that was funny to me.
And I know it was, purposefully the joke, but can you think of a worse getaway car than a double decker bus?
No, hell no.
Look,
I mean, it's
Like
impossible.
I'm trying to think of like if you had like a monster truck, like at least a monster truck, there's some defense to it. Like if you were in Twisted Metal, like you could do some damage with a monster truck. But if you're in Twisted Metal and you have
bus?
a double decker bus, I don't know,
you're
maybe
slow.
maybe
You
maybe
can't maneuver.
maybe VW Bug, but a VW Bug is kind of
No,
like the
that's
car
faster.
they were gonna drive, right?
Yeah. The Bug could at least maneuver and outmaneuver people.
Yeah.
The bus is big,
Yeah.
slow,
Like-
and can't maneuver.
Like golf cart, I suppose, is a worse vehicle than
Even
the
that
double
is
decker bus.
fast. It's probably faster than the bus at that point, you know?
I don't know. It's operated by battery.
It's
It's
true.
not going anywhere.
That's true. Maybe a bicycle is the worst
Yeah.
thing.
If you have 4 people on a golf cart, the thing is sputtering.
It goes like 5.
It's coughing. It's
Yeah.
as
May-
you go.
Maybe a bicycle is the only
Yeah.
worst thing that you could have.
A tricycle.
Yeah, tricycle. Let's talk about the ending, because then I would argue that we need to, before we get out of here, put Imhotep 2.0, maybe his transformation from Imhotep to Imhotep into the villain scale, and we did him
Imhotep.
last time, so we'll look at it. He went from Imhotep to Imhotep.
Yeah. For
But
real.
before we do that, let's talk a little bit about the ending, because we skipped over the plot. Doesn't matter. Just watch the movie. I would have told you to watch it on Peacock, but they took it
Yeah.
off yesterday. So
there's a scorpion king. There's a bracelet. There's
it looks pretty bad.
There's a gang of black clothed guys that are protecting people, and there's a clan of red clothed
cloaks.
guys that are for Imhotep, and then you got Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz and some douchey kid trying to get in the middle of it all. And that's the movie. That's the movie.
I just had 2 questions, and the one is, so he goes into the temple, and Imhotep has to defeat the Scorpion King and kill him to take the army.
Yes.
But the weird twist was that his powers got taken from him. So do you think that was a fair fight? He had to face the Scorpion King as immortal. And the follow-up to that is, do you think that you, as a 2024 person, could defeat Imhotep in hand-to-hand combat?
Yeah, I feel like I could. I mean, talk about me personally,
Yeah.
or
could
like
you fight
me
him?
with fight training.
No, you currently, and if you can get as much training as you
Well,
want, but
It's funny because I wonder if dirty fighting is something he's not like aware of, right? As a centuries old,
I
sorcerer.
think he was too
and-
much of a gentleman.
Yeah, like if I came up there and kicked him in the nuts, would he be surprised by that and be like, "I can't believe you just did that"?
I think
Where's your
back then-
Where's your honor, sir?
This is not Knights of the Round Table. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like they added honor later. I feel like
No,
he was cheating
yeah.
on his mistress, his pharaoh's mistress.
Like he seemed to be some form of like expert fighting. I don't want to call it karate because it's clearly not karate, but it's like karate adjacent to
Yeah,
whatever,
weapons
like
training.
the equivalent of ancient Egyptian karate,
Yeah.
right?
Whatever
But
that
even still, I
was.
feel like I could probably trick him with some, new age maneuvers, right? Like if I gave him the leg sweep from Mortal Kombat, would he see that coming?
the uppercut.
Or
The-
leg sweep,
the
then
Hadouken?
uppercut. Yeah, what if I just spammed leg sweep? I feel like he'd get really, really frustrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you do the Raiden like back forward, like the
Well, I mean,
Superman.
let's be realistic here now. I don't have flight powers like Raiden, but if I feel like I could trick him,
But
poke him
what
in the
if you-
eyes.
What if you put like, I don't know, who's the best fighter in the world right now? I don't even know. Or like a Navy SEAL. Take a Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
Could
Yeah,
a Navy
right,
SEAL
sure.
hand-to-hand combat like take out Imhotep?
In a second, yes. Because anyone being trained professionally today takes everything that we've learned from any style of fighting ever, and back in the day, we have that knowledge and look to improve upon it to become better and better and better, right? So of course, like they're gonna kick his ass, no problem.
So you think their fighting was weak from ancient Egypt, like, or his?
Yeah, I think it only gets better over time, right?
I know you're not like an RPG guy, but like he's not like when you think about like mages, the guys that use magic, sorcerers versus like the fighters and the brawlers.
I'm aware. I'm aware.
Like his strength is weak, and maybe he can't do it.
But
so,
he can turn himself into a tidal wave. He's got that going for him.
So had Rick not intervened, do you think he could have beaten the Scorpion King hand-to-hand combat
without the spear, though? Wasn't the spear absolutely necessary?
It was. Well, I don't know. That was unclear to me. I think it helped for sure. Yeah. And it was in the picture that showed how they beat him. Yeah. But he was going in there without the spear. He knew he wanted it, but like I think it was more of like a cheat code.
I don't think he beats Scorpion King by himself.
I don't think so either.
Which is kind of like a funny part of the movie. Did that mean that Brendan Fraser was not needed in this movie?
I think you're right. That's what I was thinking.
Because the black clothed and the red clothed fighters are fighting against each other, and it's Imhotep versus Scorpion King. I feel like Scorpion King just wins.
I think you're right.
And then what?
Then he takes over the world.
And then he takes over the world. Yeah.
And he's
then
like
everyone
a
loses.
Beast. Yeah. He's a beast of burden over there. He's got like I don't know, and that's the thing. Like I don't think he had a chance. Honestly, I think they caused the diversion, and that's how they defeated the Scorpion King. So Brendan Fraser was necessary to save the world.
Sure,
but not to.
But if it was evil, versus evil, yeah, then the lesser of two evils probably was Imhotep. Are we thinking that?
I think so too, because Imhotep. I mean, at least he's going to rule with some class or something.
He's not a half scorpion psychopath. Yeah.
Like who knows if the Scorpion King's brains were all there? He didn't even have any emotions. He was like a beast.
Exactly.
He looked like a crab man.
He was a literal beast. Imhotep at least would have he probably wouldn't have massacred everyone. He just wanted everyone to heel to his rule.
And I feel like he already had a taste of coming back and like living in civility. Whereas, you come back on the Scorpion King, he's just angry because he's a half scorpion man.
Yeah. Like, and Imhotep is capable of love, obviously. So, I mean, anyone who's capable of love has a chance.
He needs his Anaxunamun at his side. And clearly that didn't happen. So, did you agree with me when that was the ultimate emo moment? His heart broke and he let himself fall into the pit of despair.
Anaxunamun!
Like his face, I have a picture of it. And look, I know we joked in the first episode that we were going to make an album for the Hamdai and all that stuff. We had some great titles. I'll post it, but this movie is like prime for it. Like he is the
really was. He really was Imhotep. He really was.
So let's talk about him on the scale here, and we don't have to go through the whole thing. But what I think we should do for this is back when we were given half points. So I think for this, let's either go through this exercise and we'll say from the first one, we're not going to go through the whole conversation we had. Do you want to round up or round down? And I'll give you the scores for each of the categories. So if you guys are new to our show, we have a villain scale. We have 4 major categories: look or style, hideout or lair, plan or henchman. And then we put them on essentially a 20-point scale. And in the first movie, his look or style was 3.5. His hideout or lair was 4.5. His plan was 1.5 and his henchmen were 1. So let's go through this and we'll see if you want to adjust any of these scores, and then we can call it quits for this episode. But starting with the look or style, do you feel like it went up from a 3.5 or down?
I would have thought that if he would have came back with a more ripped bod, Drew.
You're going down,
I'm disappointed.
His outfit was great though. Like he had great outfits. He had the robes. He had all that. He had the train. Like,
was it better?
All that cool stuff.
I'm honestly asking, like, because I don't quite remember.
He looked kind of the same.
His wardrobe in the first one. I mean, we gave him 3.5, not so bad. Like, do you think his new clothes bump him to a 4?
I liked his mask. Like he had that scary mask. He had the gloves on. Like he was containing his body as he was like regenerating. But I don't think I can go to a 4. I just don't think I can.
Yeah, then we got to drop him to a 3.
I think we got to go to a 3.
Sad.
I think we go to the 3. Okay. What about his hideout? Because it was a little different this time. He didn't really have one, did he?
No, we got to drop it down to a 4. He's got to lose that other half.
But what about the train? You don't like the train?
That's not his hideout.
He had a room in the train. He had like a whole little room that made it up for him. He had that rock that he was encrusted in.
Yeah, like it's nice, but it's not 5 nice.
Why did we give him a 4 point? I don't even remember why we gave him a 4.5.
I don't know, his tomb. I don't know.
Oh,
He had a
yeah.
whole tomb.
I guess he had the. Okay, so
Yeah.
we're going down to a 4. Man, this is
Yeah.
not looking so good for Imhotep
No.
here, is it?
Losing
Did he
points
have
here.
anything else that you would consider a hideout or lair that would give him a 5?
No.
Okay, so I'm fine with a 4. Okay, what about his plan?
Yeah, I mean, he was thrown into the plan. Like I said earlier, he had no say in this. He was thrown into this fight, basically given a second or third chance at life. Really, third chance. So the plan of killing the Scorpion King and really, was his plan really to just reconnect with his love?
I think his
That
plan was
really
to
what he
reconnect
wanted.
with his love, but he also, hey, you know what? If I get the army of Anubis here while I'm at it, I think I'd be okay with that. So
I mean,
I don't know.
his plan wasn't super crazy, but I'm willing to give him a 2 over a 1.
You would give him a 2? I think I would too.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I would argue that no, I guess we did argue it because we said that he wouldn't do it. But what I was thinking was, could he have beat the Scorpion King? And I think the answer to that is no. But I still
think
think it's
so.
a 2 because he tried.
Yeah.
He tried. He can't help it that she left him at the altar, basically.
No.
You know? She didn't even
No.
save his life. What's
She
up with
ran
that?
away like a coward.
I thought Evie was nuts for saving Rick there too, to be honest. If I'm being serious there. All those, what do they call them? Stalactites? They were like falling everywhere. She was
Is it tights
to getting-
or mites?
I think
which
mites are
ones
from the
point
ground.
up or which ones point down?
I think the mites are on the bottom, right?
It's
Stalactites
like
are on the
random
top.
stuff from 8th grade science class that you remember.
I got to look this up.
Stalactites and stalagmites.
I thought that stalactite is the ceiling. Yeah, it is. And stalagmite is on the ground. Or stalactite. Stalactite? Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. The limestone stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So are we going 2?
Give it a 2.
Let's go 2. Okay.
Give a point back.
His henchman this time, man. I don't know. It was a 1, but I think we should be in the conversation to change this number completely if we want to. Now,
Okay.
I would consider the museum henchman, the museum curator, one of the henchmen. He was a pretty powerful man. He had connections. I would say that the guy Lachna, Mr. Echo from
Mr.
Lost,
Echo. Yeah.
he was pretty competent until he got essentially by I guess Rick killed him or no, what's his name?
The gigolo.
The gigolo
Yeah.
got him. The gigolo got him.
Yeah.
Oded Fair, it's like we refer to him as the gigolo. And then he had a Noxuna Moon, who was kind of, I guess maybe she was not his henchman, but she kind of was in a minute.
In the sense I think she was. I mean, she did stuff for him.
Would you consider the Scorpion King a henchman? I would say no.
No, because they were kind of at odds with each other, right?
And then he had
I'll say no.
those priest guys that he pulled, and he pulled them out of the jars.
You got the little guys.
Yeah,
Those little guys that were spitballing people
in the jungle.
Yeah.
And then he also had the other guys from the tomb.
I'm willing to bump his henchmen up to 3. Honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I think they were pretty good. I think they were pretty
major
good.
improvement of henchmen.
So this puts him. So you go and just look at this again. So look and style 3, hideout and layer 4, plan is a 2, henchman is a 3. So he lost points essentially between look and style and hideout and layer, and then he gained a point, really a point and a half, or so, right, between henchmen. So he previously went from a 10.5 and now he's up to a 12, and I think that's respectable. He still lost in the end.
And it's funny because he's more powerful in the first one, but the way the scale works, sometimes the scale works in mysterious ways. It gives you some bonus points for it's not always about your brawn and about your evil intentions. Sometimes it's about the crew that you roll with. Sometimes it's about the place where you put your butt. Do you have a sweet chair? Do you have do you have a throne? It's like you could have a bad plan, but you
have a currency named after you.
Look at M. Bison.
Yeah.
Look at M. Bison. You got a 5 for lair. That sets you up for success on the scale.
It's a balanced scale, we got to find ways. We can't just have everybody say, "Oh, well, they just had a bad plan." We got to find ways to balance it out, and I feel like it's a fair and balanced scale. If you look at our average, most people are right in the middle there, and that's because of some of these things. They balance out, so I like it. 12 out of 20 is pretty respectable.
Last row patented balance scale.
Yeah, there you go. Don't copy it, everybody.
Don't even try it.
Don't try it. We'll sue you. So I like this movie, and I'll be honest, I have nothing else to say about it. So I think we can put the nail in the coffin of this one. I don't know that you'll be watching it again. I might fire it up one day on a rainy Saturday. But
this will be the last time I speak of this movie.
I enjoyed it. I will say, for the record, I enjoyed it. I don't know if you guys like this movie. Send us an email, thelastrowpodcast@gmail.com. Leave a comment on this episode's page on the website, thelastrowpodcast.com. If you're enjoying the show, please consider leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Thanks to everybody that did so far. We are smack dab in the middle of the summer of sequels,
It's
Heatwave.
getting hot.
We will be back on July 18th with a cult favorite of mine, and probably yours too, Vegas Vacation.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Loving the Vegas Vacation.
So-
I feel like there's kind of a split on people that love it versus hate it.
Yeah,
And
there is.
hate it as part of the Vacation series. We'll dive into that later.
I
don't
will say this. I look at it as like it's far enough since the other ones that it's sort of its own thing. And
Yeah.
I look at it as its own thing, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
and maybe it's because of how old we are. Maybe it's right in our age wheelhouse, but we'll save that for
Do you
later.
think it could be a candidate for bad nostalgia?
No, not at all. It's a great movie.
I agree. So we'll see where we land on July 18th. And on that note, we will see you guys in 2 weeks.
See you.